Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's me, Mitch. As you can see past me, the sun is out, shining through the window, and I'm here in Melbourne, Florida, and welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. I know you're all anxious, so let's drink it. If we got it. Been waiting for this. Oh, much better. I am drinking that, my first cup of coffee every day, early in the morning with the leucine in it. Kind of got used to the taste, but I certainly wouldn't go out of my way for a cup of coffee that tastes like that. The price we pay for trying to stay in good health as we get older. Yes, yes, yes. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. How are you? I've been at it for a long time already this morning. Let me get rid of the music. And before I even start, I could turn off that welcome banner. There we go. There we go. 57 people so far. Not bad. I've done my whole routine like I'm getting in the habit of. Get up, make the pot of coffee, hydrate. And drink my coffee with the leucine in it. Wait about a half an hour. Went in and worked out this morning. Watched Kilts. That's cool. I have a TV in the room where my workout stuff is, because that's the TV I use to edit videos on it. I can watch YouTube on it. So I watched Kilts this morning, and I enjoyed it. I always enjoy watching him. I don't chat much in the actual chats, because when I watch, I've told you this, when I watch YouTube, I just want to sit back, be a spectator for a change. So, but he was out there in San Diego. He's out there for that metabolic health conference, or whatever they call it. And he was visiting with his brother Ray in Los Angeles. And although I didn't meet him in person, I did meet Ray on a video call with the two of them when he was out there, and we talked for about an hour. Nice guy, smart guy too. And I saw, he wandered over and saw Kilts, and this is what amazes me about Kilts. Here's the guy doing a live stream. It's 3 o'clock in the morning out there in California. He gets his brother in. He's juggling 3 or 4 different live streams on all these different devices at the same time. I text him. I didn't expect him to see it. I just texted him. Said, Kiltsy, see you're out there with your brother. Make sure you say hello for me. And I put my cell phone down. And about 5 seconds later, Kilts grabs his phone and says on a live stream this morning, "Oh, Mitch, old guy, how you doing?" You know, I thought, geez, I didn't want to interrupt him. And then, I got to show you this. I hope you'll be able to see it on the, hope you'll be able to see it on the screen because it's on my cell phone. Let me open my texting app. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah. But he then texts me back a picture that he took right then and there with him and his brother Ray. Now, how do you suppose any other celebrity on YouTube would react to a text that I sent them in the middle of a live stream? More than likely, not only would I not get an answer then, I would never even get an acknowledgement. I know because that's been my experience. So the man is one of a kind, I got to tell you. That's why I appreciate him as a friend. And whether you agree with everything he says or not, he's just stellar, absolutely stellar human being. And that's just the top of the list. So I don't know if you're going to hear this, Kelsey, or not. But your friendship means a bunch to me. I want you to know that. So that was really something. I was surprised. Things like that don't happen too often to us. And if you got friends like that in this world, value them. Hang on to them. Because I had some friends like that in my lifetime. They've all since passed. And that is the most valuable thing you'll ever have is friends and family. Family, of course, first, unless you hate them, and then good friends. So that's been my morning. I worked out, relaxed for about a half an hour, and here I am, and here you are. YouTube did not delete the last night's thing, and the first one in last night was Smoothie. Smoothie, how you doing? Thunderstorms tonight. See you in the AM. And Tuka, dang, only second today, he says. Love the competition. Tuka's waving. Mandy Beddoes was here last night. Nancy DeFurl, Grandma, how you doing? Good to see you this morning. Last night, Nikki W. chimed in, and Larry Ryan chimed in. Larry says, going to try checking in the night before. Hi, Mitch. That's cool. It shows me at least YouTube is doing their job. And my friends, the moment you've all been waiting for, Rick chimes in. Good morning, Rick. How you doing? But that was last night. Says, see you in the morning. Peter was here last night, and 11 middle of the night lady, June Thomas, the first of my busy Mitchfits who won't be able to make it today. And man, I've been reading the chat. Well, so-and-so's not going to be, you're not going to be here either. I was wondering if anybody would show up. Well, it's good. People are showing up. Glad to see it. Because I would hate to do this if nobody came. Not that you're not entitled to have busy lives. But you'll see what I mean. So who is this? Mike Seeley from Tampa's here. And this was early in the morning at 4:47. Rick chimed in. Quick time in less than an hour. All right. One more. Got to ration those things out, though. Or they'll cease to be funny and start to be annoying. Wayne Herman chimed in. How you doing from Lake Gaston? And Smoothie's back this morning and said good morning to everybody. Mike Silly Sr. said good morning. Sandy Blythe this year said good morning to me and good morning to you. Now it starts Michael Prager says he just got back from the weight room, but wait, that's not I don't think that's the end of the story. Main runner checked in. How you doing? Sitting in the sun again, going to listen while treadmill room is getting air conditioned before my inside run today. You're going to be busy. Asked if your connection went out. I don't think Kilts ended like he normally did this morning. He usually gets to the very end, and instead of having an outro like I do, a little video, 30-second, called an outro, opposite of an intro, it just, Alia pushes the button, click, everybody just freezes up, and a few seconds later, boom, up next it says. I like this. Runner says, now I'm listening to people complaining that they can't buy snacks and soda with food stamps. What do you think? What do you think? It's predictable. Of course. They're addicts. And if they had let them buy cocaine with food stamps and took it away from them, they'd be complaining about that too. That's life. It's life these days. And the human condition. Yeah, I think if people, I know that the welfare system is rife with corruption, but I almost feel sorry for those people that are victimized by it. They're poor people. They've been told that we're going to take care of you. You can't tell them what to eat and what not to eat. They're not going to be happy, any happier than the vegans telling us to eat veggies, or the government telling us to eat healthy whole grains. Nobody's going to be happy being told what to do, and I'm not surprised. Is it a good move to cut that out? I don't know. What are they going to spend the food stamp money on instead? Are they going to buy pastries instead of Cokes? Are they going to go into the supermarket and buy poisonous vegetables? Do they have enough money to even buy a hamburger or buy meat with it? No. So maybe the alternative that you're forcing these people to turn to is just as bad as the crap you don't want them to buy. So unless you arrange to have nice pasture-raised ribeyes delivered to them every day, I don't think it's your place to tell them what to eat or what not to eat. You can tell them. You tell them wrong. Yeah, I know we're trying to change that, but how's that working out so far? And I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to create revolution and resentment, but that's my opinion. And you all know that if I've got nothing else, I've got my opinion. Maybe all I have. Tuka's saying hi to everybody, and Tuka's telling Michael Prager today he's going to the gym to do legs today. You guys are jocks. I'm happy to see that. That's great. That's great. And oh my gosh, is here. How you doing? Good morning, all. What's the weather like in your neck of the woods? So far, so good, but this time of year, it's going to usually get a thunderstorm sometime in the afternoon. This is when we all run around saying, oh, don't like the weather? Just wait a minute. Lori Weissel, good morning to you. We have got, what'd you say? Rain. Rain here. Cooler here. Oh, rain and cooler. Yeah. Oh, good. A little break from the heat. Tina Schweikerath is also out and about on the way to get new tires on her car. Watch the replay. Tina, thanks for checking in. We'll hopefully see you tomorrow morning. And everybody's talking, and it is 8:29, almost there. Tuka, CB Carmack is here. How you doing? Smoothie at 8:29, and Tuka again, and Rick again, and Terry Sue again, and doesn't this just get boring? Doesn't it just get boring? Gary did it again. Mr. Timing got it down to a science, our winner today. Congratulations, Gary. Why am I not surprised? Followed by Brian Dish and Lady June at 8:30, and Marla Kelly, Bacon Baby, oh my gosh again, Tuka again, Rick again, Brian, B. Matt, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Laurie, this is still 8:30. Tuka again, Lorraine, and Nadal, good morning to you, and thank you. You have a fabulous day too. Lewis is here. Lewis Latino, how you doing, Lewis? Up in New York, forget about it. CB, 8:30, Maureen, not Sally. How you, Maureen? Good to see you. Good to see you. And we have Mark Whistler. Mark, in your honor, I knew you were going to be here today. The Mark Whistler. Kenny in the Black Hoodie Cup, one of my favorites. Coffee just tastes better with Kenny on the outside. Those of you who are not South Park fans have no idea what I'm talking about. My advice to you is start watching South Park. Maybe, even though sometimes they get politically on the other side, that is what I thought the most clever adult content that you can watch without becoming pornography. But it's very great comedy. Great comedy. Genius stuff. Still at 8:30, Bacon Baby and Tuka again and Gina Cap. Holy cow, Lori and Bacon Baby and Lori, and we're still at 8:30. Tuka again, man. And the first at 8:31 is, of course, Tuka. And who else do we have here? We have Mudbone. Larry, how you doing? Do you remember Mudbone? If you're an old blues guy, do you remember an entertainer named Leon Redbone? Leon Redbone. He was very unique. Your name reminds me, every time I see your Mudbone, I think of him. So, who else I've had? I said hi to Sue Middleton. If you got anything you want to talk about, any questions for me, I don't really have a lot of show notes or anything today. I've been a busy boy this morning. It is hump day, so we made it through half the week. That was quick. Richard Williams from Copper Hill, Tennessee. Good morning, Richard. Good to see you. And who else? Here's somebody new. Billy Streety. Hi, Billy. Northwest Arkansas. And Peter chimed in. Hi, Peter. Let's see if we can get through this. Charlie Faircloth. Good morning, Charlie. He says, good morning to all of us, and we are all here. Michael Pregler. New routine. OMAD. No eating on Monday. My first 48-hour fast. I feel fantastic. Well, that's great, Michael. Nothing wrong with that. That's the most important thing. How do you feel? That tells you more, I think, than all the numbers of blood tests, the CAG scores, the imaging, and everything else. And it was an interesting point. She made this morning on Kilts' live stream. Here's a woman that let her curiosity get out of hand because she kept hearing all the talk about what's your calcium, cardiac artery calcium score, your CAC score. And she didn't know, just like I don't know mine, nor do I want to know. Sorry, don't want to know. And she went, and she said, she told the story. Well, I went and I got it done. And it was 5,000. And she said, I panicked because I'm hearing people whose calcium scores are 100 very upset and panicked. There have been a number of videos put out by some very credible doctors and researchers that talk about, in most cases, how meaningless that number really is and is not going to predict imminent death or lack thereof. People with 0 calcium scores can drop over dead tomorrow. People with 5,000 and plus calcium scores can live to be 100. But that's the problem with numbers. That's the problem is when we live by the numbers, we worry by the numbers. We stress out by the numbers. We become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because just like in all of the hype you've heard all your life about, from all of the people like Napoleon Hill and the people that motivational speakers, positive attitude. If whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Kilts talks about this in the morning. Is be the success. Fake it till you make it. There's no end to this stuff. It works the same the other way. If you expect a bad outcome for any reason, your subconscious, basically, you're programming your subconscious to make it happen. Whatever you believe will happen really has a better chance of happening. This may be one of the mechanisms why there is a benefit to praying, even if you're not religious. If you can believe something, you have the machinery and power in you to affect everything from your attitude to the way you come across to your charisma to everything. And we can tell, and we would much rather be around people that are positive and upbeat than people that are downers and depressed all the time. Well, that's what knowing these numbers do to you. I'm sorry. And I get asked so many times, you're a coward, Mitch, how come you don't want to know your CAC score? And I tell them why. What benefit would I have? And she absolutely reinforced my belief this morning when she said, well, now that I knew it was 5,000, I talked to Dr. Ovadia, got to ask him a question, and he said, well, use that 5,000 as a baseline and see what happens next year. Now, she's on keto, she's doing everything she can, and unfortunately, all this stuff is not going to lower. People say, oh, my CAC score well, maybe it was maybe the test. Maybe it was a margin of error in the test. When calcium is there, it's there. I'm sorry. It's there because the body put it there. The body put it there to do one thing, stabilize the soft plaque so it does not break off. Maybe that's what happened to me. A little soft plaque got loose and somehow got into my brain and caused a clot, and I had a stroke. I've been basically eating healthy almost all my life with some periods of binging. I'm not cleaning my arteries out. The the fallacy that there's an artery, cleanse your arteries, clean out all that. That's bullshit. It can't happen. It doesn't happen. And it calcifies basically because that's the final stage of the body saying, okay, we've done everything we could. You're living with inflamed artery walls. We keep sending the firemen there to lay down the spackle, which is cholesterol. You keep doing these things like eating sugar and seed oils that inflames your arteries. We can't keep up with it anymore. The plaque is slowly going to kill you. We're going to calcify it so it stops moving and pretty well right off that section of artery wall, trying to repair it anymore. So she said this morning, and this was very, very, very telling and much more profound than anybody that heard it could ever imagine, the ramifications of what she said. I went back to second year, she said, and it was 6,000. So she managed to get a question through to Phil Avadia on another thing. She said, now what do I do? Now my CAC score is 6,000. She's already got herself in her mind. She's already dead. It's inevitable. Well, it is for all of us, but I mean, like tomorrow. Probably can't think of anything else. Scaring the pants off her. And Avadia says, well, the average adult, their CAC score going into old age will go up 20% a year. Wow. That means if she lives 10 more years, she's going to have a CAC score of 50,000 or so. Is there that much greater chance of her getting killed from that? If you really look into what they're measuring with a CAC score, you realize that even those astronomical numbers are not a death sentence. But the point she made about now, she said, I can't stop thinking about it. Every waking hour of your life is now consumed with you waiting for that bullet to hit you when you least expect it. Having this stroke taught me I have those thoughts now because the odds of having a second stroke after a first one are certainly much higher than if you've never had one. The medical community uses that as a fear tactic to get you to keep coming to see them because they actually make you believe that they actually can help you. And they're not helping you by continually instilling fear of what bad is going to happen to you, and you need them, and you need to rely on them because without them, disasters are going to strike. When in reality, they're making everything worse, throwing more and more drugs at it, and your life becomes consumed with dying and fear. And in the case of this woman today, I think her name was Cindy, had she never buckled in to the pressure, how can you live without knowing what your CAC score is, people say? She wouldn't be thinking about it. She'd be 100% happier, much less fearful. That ruins your life. Some people it doesn't. But most people, it does. That's why I'm so adamant. I don't even want to know what my cholesterol is. I don't care. I get my physical once a year. It's a curiosity for me. I must make a joke about it. My LDL when I had the stroke was 350. It was 450 at my physical last year. And I said, well, I'm almost there. I won't be happy until it's 500. That's what I'm shooting for. And that's what I tell these doctors. Yes, they all think I'm crazy, like a fox. I don't want to know. I don't want it, but people have to know. People have to know. They worry. What they're really shooting for is the relief that they think they're going to have when they find out it's zero. Oh, wow. I'm not dying. Oh, it's great. I was worried about I had a high CAC score. Now I know. The only problem is most people are going to have a high score. So for more people than not, it doesn't give you a sense of relief getting these tests. It turns into a death sentence for you that you worry about. Like a death row inmate worrying about whether the governor is going to stay his execution or not. All you can think about, you torture yourself, you stress yourself out, you get a negative attitude, and in doing that, you hurry up your own demise because you're not thinking positively. You're thinking, I'm dying, and your subconscious says to you, well, I'm going to make you act like you're dying. And you do. Self-fulfilling prophecy. So anybody else ever asks me, why haven't you got a CAC score? I'll refer them back to this little thing, because there's nothing, and here's the logic behind it. Well, if there's something you can do about it, Mitch, don't you want to know? Absolutely. That's why I let them do colonoscopies on me every year. But there's nothing you can do about a high CAC score. Nothing. We're already doing the things that will keep it from maybe increasing even more every year. But this woman today was on a keto diet. And a keto diet, you're still eating plants. And if you're still eating plants, you're still poisoning yourself. And if you're still poisoning yourself, you're still causing inflammation. And if you're still causing inflammation, you will build plaque in your arteries. And it will eventually become calcified. You cannot cure atherosclerosis even on a carnivore diet. But at least maybe you can put it in check. Reduce the inflammation to nothing. Stop the plaque buildup. But if you're on a keto diet and you're eating poisons, you're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself. You're not going to slow it down. People only do keto for one reason. And this is hard truth, but people only do keto for one reason. Otherwise, why not just be a carnivore? It's simpler. It's more easy. It's better for you if you do it somewhat right. Why not just give up the plants entirely? Because they are addicts. That's why. And refuse to give up that last little bit. And spend their time trying to figure out how can I turn that 20 grams of carbs a day into a treat and maybe cheat a little bit by not counting this one, not counting that one, not counting the insoluble fiber because that's not really carbs. I can't use it anyway. And I end up eating pizza and carnivore cookies or keto cookies and keto bars and keto this and keto that. And with the food companies eager to capitalize on that propaganda and continue the poisoning of you. And these people don't want to face their addiction. They don't want to go to the extreme. Well, unfortunately, they can believe whatever they want. The reality is their CAC score is going to continue to go up every year. Better not to know about it. Would be better for most of these people just to forget about dieting altogether. Make themselves happy at least. What kind of life is it to worry about killing over tomorrow because of your numbers? Better, I think, not to know. I know an awful lot of people in their 80s that are in terribly bad shape. They're the happiest people I ever know. They get together with their friends every night and stuff their faces full of this, that, and the other thing. Somehow, it hasn't killed them yet. It hasn't killed them yet. So what are you saving it for? What are you going to do? How old are you going to get? And do you really want to live as your body fails and your muscles fail and everything else. These are things I never thought about when I was younger. But you get older, see those numbers climbing up in the chronological age, and these kind of things make you rethink what your priorities are. And my priority these days is trying to have the least amount of stress and enjoy the most I can out of life. Know that I'm doing everything I can, but I know what I'm not doing is helping me. So me and my high cholesterol and more than likely my high CAC score are going to march on happily into the future, trying to talk some sense into people who fall for all this propaganda and end up ruining their own lives in the process. And I felt so sorry for her when I watched her this morning. And I know she's trying to be happy and do it all right, but when she said, I wish I never found out. Oh man, I understood exactly what you mean. And boy, did that ever reinforce my decision not to want to know. And when I had my stroke, any of the imaging or things that they did, which they initially told me I had a heart problem, and they wanted to schedule me for angiograms and all this other stuff, scared the shit out of me too. And once I heard that, I couldn't unhear it. And even though 2 days later, a cardiac ultrasound showed that they were wrong, I had no problem with my heart. They were using clues from enzymes and other things, blood pressure and other things that were just completely screwed up because I had a stroke. Or because I don't know how to measure blood pressure. Or a million other things. And if I'd have let them continue to treat me, they would have killed me by now. I wouldn't be here today. And it turns out that they called off the angiogram. And the guy said to me, good news, Mitch. Your heart's fine. Your ejection fraction is perfect. I didn't even want to question the guy. I said, get the hell out of here then. I don't need you. Well, you could come and, if you want to investigate this further, here's my card. You come. Why the hell would I want to see you again? Your ignorance caused you to scare the shit out of me for no reason, possibly give me deadly medical treatments that could go wrong and usually do. Why would I ever want to risk my life coming anywhere near you? In fact, let me know where you drive every day so I can make sure I'm not even in a neighborhood, lest you have a chance of running me down. Crazy. Well, if you want to take the risk, okay. Nice knowing you, Doc. I'll put you right in the same category as the neurologist who didn't know what she was doing either. I think sometimes I should have just laid where I ended up in my house and let this thing go away by itself. Because the one thing they could have done for me in an emergency room is to administer what they call clot-busting drugs. That's the one thing they didn't do for me. But that's history, and I'm recovering, and I'm still here ranting about it on YouTube and not saying hi to everybody. So, there's a question. Let's get back to it. Mark, anyone know anything about homing pigeons? One up on my back porch after a thunderstorm. No, I have no idea. I have nothing. I understand it's kind of an interesting study. How do they know? Do they have compasses? Instinctual behavior in animals is a subject of mine that's always fascinated me, because I always look at and study those kind of things to try to explain how come human beings do some of the things that they do. And most of what we do comes from instinctual behavior learned by our ancestors or machinery inside of us that has developed to take advantage of things that we can't perceive consciously. Kind of like a built-in compass. But for some reason, birds have a way of knowing where they're going and where they are. And yet, I don't think they have GPSs in them quite yet, or carry cell phones. Interesting question. Lori likes my t-shirt. Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much. Who is this? Loretta, previously known as Meatitudes. Good morning, Loretta. Just hello to everybody. And DS111 is here. How are you? How are you? Yeah, Rick, yeah, he did, didn't he? And that shocked the pants off me. That was almost immediately after. It was something. It was somehow. The guy's a multitasker. There's no doubt about it. I guess we all have to be. Yeah. Yeah, Michael Pringle says Kilts is superhuman. Yeah, he's something. He's one of these rare individuals that they broke the mold. I think I'm like that too, but I'm not the dynamo that he is. I'm sure, and I wasn't before my stroke either. So I was when I was in business. But after a certain time, and you get to a certain, remember, I'm almost 10 years older than Kiltsy. You get to a certain age, you say, okay, I'm going to slow down. And I did that. I did that 20 years ago. If my business had not been stolen from me, remained successful, my whole entire life would have evolved differently, and I might be more of a dynamo approaching 80 than I was at 60, but we are all dealt the hand we're dealt, and it's up to us to make the best of it. I've tried. Sometimes the hand is so bad, you got a choice. You shoot the dealer or you live with it. Rick says we're a small group compared to most popular. Yes, of course we're a small group because it takes a certain level of intelligence and realism to be a member of this group instead of some of these larger groups that basically can be sold anything because they're gullible and will believe anything with the right sales pitch. Like keto cookies and keto pizza. People are addicted. And if we sat here all day extolling the virtue of alcohol, convincing people that drinking to excess is good for you, and it's good for your liver. And if you don't drink to excess or take drugs like heroin or cocaine, you'll suffer health-wise for it. And packaged that stuff up in pretty packages with bright colors and made it even more addictive and more comforting and fulfilling to use it. What would drug addiction and alcohol addiction be like today? Well, look how bad it is now. And there's a war on it. Imagine if there was not only no war on it, but a public relations campaign to convince you're doing something good for yourself. How many alcoholics would need an excuse to start drinking again? And until we label sugar addiction and carb addiction as an addiction and stop telling people it's food and it's good for you, the addiction is going to keep going. It's going to keep increasing. And that's why people want to stay keto. They recognize that too much sugar is no good. But they still concentrate and focus on added sugars. But natural sugar is okay. All natural, after all. Well, cyanide is all natural. So is arsenic, all natural. hemlock, all natural. Oleander, all natural. They have one thing in common. They all come from plants. They are plant defense chemicals and are deadly poisonous to human being. Bryson, one of the most deadly poisons we've ever isolated. You can be killed by a speck of that stuff. Comes from castor beans. And I heard Kilts say this morning, and it's just so logical. What poisons are derived from a ribeye? All plants, all plant poisons. And plant poisons are responsible for just about every disease that inflicts the human race these days, except for things that come from bacteria and viruses. It's such a simple concept, but nobody believes it. So we talk about added sugars. No added sugar. Well, who cares? Who cares? It's like adding fentanyl to cocaine or adding fentanyl to heroin. Is the heroin better without the fentanyl? Well, yeah. Will it still kill you? Yeah. Addict you? Yeah. So why don't we make it legal to have heroin as long as it doesn't have fentanyl in it? Because there's no added fentanyl, is there? Bet you never heard anybody say that before. That's because people don't think along those lines. That's logical thinking. So added sugar is the same thing. What are you adding the sugar to? You're adding it to sugar and plant poison and oxalates and lectins and anti-nutrients and all that other stuff that come in plants that are all sugar to start with. So what are you adding more sugar? And that's what we need to stop doing, but all the other shit is okay. It's okay to keep eating the poisonous plants that are sugar. It's okay to keep eating grains and whole wheat and all that other stuff. No. You got to cut it out. You have to cut out sugar completely unless it's necessary when there's nothing else. And we are living in a society where as long as you got a buck in your pocket, there's always something else. And if you don't have a buck in your pocket, that's too bad. I'm sorry for your misfortune. We've all had misfortune. We've all found ourselves without. I have too, especially. But it's got nothing to do with adding sugar to my food. I got news for you. And that's the big push now. And the red dyes, got to get them out of the food. That's going to solve the problem. Meanwhile, we can't take the food that's killing people away from the people who were paying for it, because they're complaining about how unfair it is to not be able to drink 6 quarts of regular Coca-Cola a day. And who are you to tell me how to spend my money that you gave me? Oh, this would be the time when I wasn't in a mixed crowd like this where the profanity would start coming out of my mouth, because there are no other words that describe the absolute absurdity of this situation. And the people in Washington, D.C., they want the crime, they want the murders, they want the drug dealers, because when somebody tries to do something to stop it, they want to crucify the guy. The problem in this world are the people. The rest of it just happened. Hey, Johnny Joe Flyers here. How you doing? And you have to chuckle at this stuff, at the absurdity. I made a mistake in watching 5 minutes of news this morning. 5 minutes. But you can't go through your YouTube recommended feed every day without seeing all the headlines from Fox and all these other people and all the commentary and all the people bitching about everything that they can do nothing about anyway. All right, let's talk about carnivore. I'd like to talk more about carnivore. I'd like to help people if they're having a specific problem, handling an addiction, or with a specific something that falls within my area of, and I hate to use the word expertise, my area of opinion. And I'll look for the questions. But I'm as usual, very far behind, about half an hour. Let me scroll through this real quick here. Because I could go on and point out the problems all day long. But I think we all know what the problems are. And the answer is so simple. The answer is so simple. And I've been not anti-keto, because I think it's better than the majority of people are doing, but I don't think it's going to solve the problem for anybody who's an addict. If you're not an addict, and you can actually manage to be happy and not feel deprived, trying to live the everything in moderation lifestyle, fine. There are people that live long, long, healthy lives and drink alcohol. My grandfather did. And smoke cigars. My grandfather did. He lived to be 102 years old and relatively healthy all his life. He wasn't an alcoholic, however, and if he was an alcoholic, he could not have done that. He would have lived in a bottle. Some people are lucky. Some people have I'm lucky when it comes to alcohol. I don't even like this stuff. Don't like it. I heard Cindy this morning on Kilts thing say, I'm lucky I don't even like coffee. Some people can't live without it. I can live without it, but I'd rather have it. So I have found the story that suits I found all the reasons why it's good for me. Okay. You think I'm blind and I ignore the few things that I have discovered where maybe I'd be better without it? But that's life. It's a balancing act, with happiness being the goal and contentment. So, yeah, there are things that otherwise we'd all have ourselves welded into a still box with a ventilator and just sit in there and have food come through a tube and not risk anything. And we'd be very sure that we would not get run over by a bus. Question, here's something from Maureen. Maureen, question, can we talk about sleep? I'm having a hell of a time sleeping through the night lately. Wow. You know, that's a whole science, Maureen. That's a whole science. Can you, is it at all possible to identify anything that any outside force other than what's going on in your head? Are you stressed to the max? Do you follow all the rules that people say about the blue light and the red light and no TV for 2 hours or whatever, no eating after a certain time of night, no coffee after a certain time of day? There are too many factors, because sleep is a natural process. It needs everything, pretty much, to be right for it to just happen, for you to just drift off. There's thousands of videos guaranteed to put you to sleep within 2 minutes. I saw one of them this morning in my feed. 2 minutes. Do this, guaranteed. Take this, guaranteed. Eat this, guaranteed. Drug yourself into oblivion, guaranteed, to make you unconscious in 2 minutes. And then not only is it tough to get to sleep, but what kind of sleep are you getting? Are you in REM sleep? Are you in deep sleep? Are you a light sleeper? is something external waking you up. You live in a neighborhood with traffic noise that you haven't gotten used to. I can tell you for a fact, they're repaving I-95 right by my community all night long for the past week. There's been nothing but trucks, loaders, bulldozers, asphalt machines, waking me up all night long. That's not me. I'm trying to sleep at a construction site. They'll be done with it and it'll get quiet again. You live in a neighborhood where at 2 o'clock in the morning, the drug dealers are having shootouts outside your window. Maybe you need to figure out a way to wear earplugs. Is your room, the way you sleep, too bright? Or is it dark enough? It's a transaction load you have during the day, giving you too much to be concerned about and too much to think about, so you can't shut off your mind. Nobody, I don't think anybody can give anybody advice about how to sleep. They have doctors, they have sleep clinics. Even they can't get it right, because how many different possible factors could there be? Infinite. We've all heard them all. We have to consider it, but you have to. Can you nap during the day? Do you nap during the day? What time do you get? So many things, and I'm fortunate. Basically, I do all the things they tell me not to do. All of them, except the caffeine. I won't drink caffeine after noon. But I'm not really a napper. The stroke has caused me to have to rest for an hour or so in the afternoon, but I very rarely fall asleep. But at nighttime, I have my ritual. My ritual is get ready for bed, climb into bed, turn on the TV. Tell you not to do. Keep checking my phone, doing little things on it, all the blue light in the world. And after about a half an hour, I can't keep my eyes open anymore. I turn off the TV, turn off the light. I'm asleep within 2 minutes every night. Why? Because I have no unresolved issues to be thinking about. And that comes about because, as complicated as things are, I try to keep my life simple, kind of like a caveman. So, yeah, I know I got to get up and hunt tomorrow, or I'm going to starve to death, but I don't need to worry about the people in Washington, D.C. that are angry because we're taking the Coca-Cola and the snacks off the food stamp program. We just start thinking about all of this noise that's thrust at us all day. You start to think about that, and you have that on your mind when you go to sleep. It's a wonder anybody falls asleep. You may think I'm a guy that rants all the time and I'm angry all the time. I'm not, because in my mind, I say, it's not my problem. There's nothing I can do. Why try to figure it out? And just turn it off. You got to be, if you're content. And once you've eliminated all of these many, many things that might be keeping you awake, some of them in your control and some of them not, you can only experiment and make the changes. And there are physical conditions that might keep you awake. So sleeping through the night, I very rarely sleep through the night anymore. That's just getting old, Maureen. I'm sorry. That's just getting old. With men, it usually has to do with prostate things and having to pee all night long. Well, I don't have to do that. But I very rarely go to bed and don't wake up till the sun comes up. Young people, children, my grandchildren can sleep 14 hours a day. can sleep through a nuclear war. That's being young. People get old, are up all night. Somebody's watching all those infomercials for those chairs that say, it helps me when I get up. You don't see them during the day. You only see them at 2 o'clock in the morning with all the infomercials that they have. They're for the old people that are waking up all night long. Do we have more on our mind? Do we need less sleep? Who knows? We certainly aren't growing like we need when we're young. But we do need to sleep. So it's a very personal thing. I probably said a lot more than you ever wanted to hear about it. And I hope maybe I addressed the issue. But that's how I do it. I sleep because I don't care about all the crap that's thrust at me all day long. At the end of the day, I lay down. It's just Mitch, my bed, and if anything, I try to think about the good things and the happy things that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And that relaxes you, unstresses you, and you fall asleep. Michael Pregler says, my CAC score is 194. There are those that say, Michael, that you are on an imminent risk of a heart attack with a CAC score like that. It's bullshit. Don't believe it. Yeah, and Cindy. Yeah, Cindy. Yes, Cindy. That was great. You are so right, which is why I had another CAC test one. The stress and worry about getting them was rough. It is. It is. I so identified, Cindy. I so identified. Wow. I mean, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I keep thinking, well, maybe you're being irresponsible, Mitch. Maybe you should want to know. And then I'm saying, why? What could you possibly recommend that I do to fix it? There is no way to fix it. Is it worth going in for open heart surgery, having bypasses? You're more likely to ruin your life with that kind of stuff. I don't trust them anyway. So yeah, that was great. That was great. I really liked that. I mean, I identified with that. And that's why I won't have one. I won't have one. And that's why when I had the stroke and this doctor starts telling me about all the things he thought was wrong with me, which weren't, it scared the shit out of me. And I'm still worried about that. Even though I know it's not valid, I still worry about it. You can't help but worry about stuff like that. It's your life. It's your life. As long as you feel good now, enjoy it. I gotta stop worrying about tomorrow. And I can't help it either. I can't, take your own advice. Mitch, the likelihood is you won't have another stroke. Maybe 10% of people that had a stroke have another one. That means 90% of the people don't. I'm going to latch on to that number. Yeah, we're talking about CAC scores. That was a great conversation this morning. And young people don't think about that because young people think you can fix everything. I can fix anything. I'll just tell my parents. My parents will fix everything. I'm okay. I can keep doing what I'm doing. Saved by Carnivore. My mom had a bad stroke in 2004, never had one again. She's my age. Well, it's good to hear. That's great to hear. I don't expect to have another one. I think these things happen, just like accidents. Just because you have a car accident one day doesn't mean you have to have another one. Or even that you're even more likely to have another one. Maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe it was just a confluence of bad conditions that came together at the right. I have no idea what caused my stroke. It was not a blood pressure thing. It was ischemic. Somewhere in my body, something got into my, something clotted. I think, an explanation for it. And it was the fact that because of medical, I don't want to use the word malpractice because that indicates that it's a legal thing. Because of medical, let's say that during the COVID years, the medical profession could not spend any amount of time trying to diagnose anything because they had 10,000 people waiting because they thought they were dying from COVID. Well, right in the middle of all that, I had a head injury and ended up with a brain bleed, which they didn't catch or fix. And they kept turning me away while I was developing a subdural hematoma in my brain on my left side. Twice I gave them a shot at saying, we know we sent you home, but Mitch, you're back, you're still bleeding. But no, they would not. They had too many COVID people. So do I blame my stroke on Anthony Fauci? Because my stroke was right there where they cut the side of my skull out to get to a 3/4 inch thick blood clot under my skull that was pressing on my brain and about to kill me because they didn't catch it when it was a drip. They forced me to wait until it became a fire hydrant. They got run over by a car. Then they noticed and had to rush me into helicopter me to the hospital and rush me into surgery and cut my head open to remove it. And I fortunately survived, but I'm sure all of that did some damage in there. It had to have. And what a coincidence. When I saw the MRI of where my stroke happened, it was exactly where they were in there fooling around. So what are the odds that it was something else other than that caused my stroke? Do you think that these doctors that were treating my stroke would even consider the possibility that that's where it came from? No. It's your high cholesterol. Anybody knows that. Everybody knows that's your high cholesterol, Mitch. When you came in here with that stroke, your blood pressure was 170 over so-and-so. My blood pressure's been under control for years. I have hundreds of readings stored in the memory of my blood pressure machine. My average reading over years was 115 over 65. I do not have high blood pressure. My blood pressure is fine. My high cholesterol is fine. All of these things that you think are wrong because you've been working on the fraud and misconception for the past 70 years because of Ansel Keys and the farm and the drug companies. Yeah, they don't know that. They're ignorant. And it's so maddening. They kill you. They screw up your life. And then the one thing in the world that you got going for you, they blame. They put the blame on. And you can't help but get angry when they do it to you. And the only thing you can do is fight against it like crazy, and that's what I'm doing. So they don't do it to me again. But unfortunately, you have a medical emergency. They're taking you. You have no choice. Anymore, I want to say to them, look, go away. Leave me here to die, will you please? I'll be much better off and probably won't die. But if I let you take me again to a place where all they're going to do is pump me full of drugs and feed me sugar, you're going to kill me. Because you have no idea what you're doing. And no, that's not an absolute. Yes, the medical community can help you in many things. But the general thrust of metabolic health, they are on the wrong track. I'm sorry. At any rate, I am ranting again. You can't help it. But the main goal here is not to just, is that maybe make people aware of what's wrong. I want to do that. I want people to be convinced, because the authority is there. The white coats are there, the stethoscopes, the big buildings, all the advice. It's kind of hard to say, that's all nonsense. I know the real answer. Eat meat. Don't eat plants. That, if we weren't so immersed in this and know as much as we've learned about it, that would sound crazy even to us. So you got to understand why it sounds so crazy to so many people. Mitch is attacking the medical establishment. He doesn't have to look that far for the cause of a stroke. No, I don't, Peter. Well, I'm almost giving up going through the chat. But the one thing I do, may not have the biggest audience in the world, but I do speak my mind. I don't pump air up anybody's skirt. Reality is the way it is, in my opinion, and everybody has their own reality, and we're pretty well aligned in this. And I do think this, being around like-minded people who have similar experiences, is very reinforcing and makes you think, no, we're not crazy. How could we be crazy when we're going back to doing what it was that got us here in the first place? Does it make sense when you stop to really think about it? They don't let people think anymore. They bombard you so that you think what they tell you to think. Josephine C. says, Mitch, you're awesome. Thank you, Josephine. Thank you so much. So much good information. So much good information that you guys put out every day. I try to catch up, try to read it. It's overwhelming. The amount of it. Loretta says, carb addict here. Yeah, we really have a serious and well-known organization designed and structured and funded to really treat carbohydrate addiction, the biggest problem we have in this country, and the reason why everybody gets away with what they get away with. We're so controlled by our cravings for the comfort and taste of these engineered foods that we're addicted to, that all the rest of our thinking is clouded by our desire for the next fix, whether it be a half a gallon of ice cream, big plate of pasta, bunch of fruit, whatever it may be. There are evolutionary roots in our need for that stuff during times of food shortage. And we're still running on that programming, unfortunately. The difference is there's no shortage of real food. But because of the importance of us getting it, of going out and finding it, for our survival back in those times, we were rewarded with tremendous pleasure when we did. Because that's what life is all about, pain and pleasure. And we still have that mechanisms in us, physiology, to reward us with great pleasure when we eat that ice cream with chocolate sauce and nuts and everything, and Skittles and candy on it. That's what addiction is made of. I'm still looking for questions. And you guys are still here. I'm glad to see that. Here you go. Kathy says, keto packaged snacks usually contain soy. Soy works against testosterone. Oh, speaking of that, I'm glad you brought up that testosterone stuff. I'm so glad. I'm talking about, let me finish the question. Also raises estrogen. Yes, bad for breast cancer. Yes, Kathy, I'm so glad you talked about that, because I haven't I haven't really addressed comments from morons in quite a while, but let me see if I can get. I'm sure that I took a screenshot of these things yesterday. Let's see what. There's one comment. Oh, here it was. Here was a comment. Again, I won't tell you who wrote it. It's about me talking about creatine and things. And as usual, my followers don't hesitate to tell me what to do. But they don't do it in the way like, have you ever thought about it? They say, this is what you do. Do it. And this comment says, just go on TRT. Just go on testosterone replacement therapy. It's actual hormone, and you'll get more benefits out of it, even if mentally, than you will of any substance you ever take. Don't let the mainstream media talking points. You'll never feel better in your life. Trust me, we all need way more testosterone in this damaged world we live in today. Best decision I ever made in my life. So let me get this straight. This is what you're doing, doctor. Not a doctor, but playing one. You're prescribing testosterone replacement therapy for me instead of amino acids, the building blocks of life. You think I should ignore, because all I'm doing by taking creatine, and this is a very important point, all I'm doing by taking creatine, leucine, because of some mechanism that I think an effect they'll have on me, which has been documented, and no downside. You think that if I just scrapped all that shit, stop taking the electrolytes, stop doing everything, but every so often I got a shot of testosterone in my ass, that one thing is what you're telling me. Because somehow you assume that I have low testosterone. Because why would somebody recommend TRT to somebody whose testosterone level, wait for it, is 929? And what logic could anybody ever think that they know so much and they're so sure of themselves that they would recommend that a 78-year-old man with a testosterone level higher than just about anybody in the world would want to add more testosterone? Or whether it wouldn't be deadly or dangerous. And why does Mitch have a testosterone of 929? Anybody that doesn't believe me, I will email you my blood test results. After 1 year of carnivore, my testosterone was 600 and something. A year later, when I had tested, it was 900 and something. Why? Because my cholesterol is high, and cholesterol is a precursor for testosterone. You cannot have high testosterone if you are taking cholesterol-lowering drugs. You're killing yourself. I had my cholesterol checked as a proof to my doctor that it's necessary. She was astounded to see my cholesterol numbers for a man my age. Because of that, everything in my body works. I can put on muscle at my age. Forget the stroke. I have no erectile dysfunction of any sort. I could probably father children with the best of them at 78 years old because I don't artificially lower my cholesterol. Now, that's my theory. And anybody who thinks they can disprove it, it's usually propaganda, phony studies, and everything else that they use to disprove it. So when I see a comment like that, what they're basically telling me, even if they don't realize it, is, you're stupid, Mitch. You're ignorant. You're not thinking. You're just falling for everybody else's bullshit. What you really need to do, and then they give me a recommendation, which is the most absurd thing I ever heard, and I have to read those kind of comments one after another if I want to keep up with you guys and not ignore the things you say. And every once in a while, one of them is so absurd and misguided that I actually take a screenshot of it, and if something reminds me of it, I get around to it. I've got quite a library of those screenshots. That just goes to show you how gullible people really are and how all of us think we're right. We're right. Now, there's a way. If it's an opinion, express an opinion. Express it as an opinion. Don't express it as a fact like this person did. And insinuate that I'm ignorant because I didn't know that fact yet that you know for sure. Sorry, my friend. If you've been around on this channel since the beginning. If you never come back, I don't care. I don't need that shit. I don't need it from anybody. If you have an opinion to express to me that regards something that you're recommending to me, and by virtue of the fact that it's in a comment and read by all of you, it better be something that's not dangerous advice and well thought out. Now, you've been around too long for me to hide you as a user or remove the post. But certain attitudes are just destructive. And the kind of things that make me say, why do I bother? Why do I bother? I don't need this shit. Anyway, I'm still happy. And I still have some coffee left. The urge to rant. Oh, yes. The pharmaceutical will be calling Mitch to source some testosterone. Yeah, it's crazy. That's what I do with my doctor. The poor girl doesn't know how to handle me. She just sits and listens now. Prescribes a statin like the VA tells her she has to. I think twice about even ever going in for a physical anymore. Because she just says something to me about my cholesterol. I'll say, well, how come my testosterone is 929? And then the best they can come up with is, well, I don't know, you must be doing something right, Mitch. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I said, well, I intend to. But they're not going to recommend that what I'm doing to any of their other patients because they'll lose their job. They'll lose their job. And I never say I'm right. I've never claimed to be the final authority on these things. I'm just claiming that I try to think this stuff out. And things have to make sense. And I do have a somewhat working knowledge of biochemistry. I may not be a research lab guy yet, but it needs to make sense. Peter says he's looking forward to RFK fixing the food pyramid. That'd be a cold day in hell, Peter, before the food companies will let him do that. Now, the food companies will come around, and then and this is another way of looking at it. In order for us to change the health of the human public, we need to change the way the food companies manufacture food. We need to do it in such a way that they don't lose profits. Just like when low-fat came in. They all jumped on it because it was cheaper to make low-fat foods than it was the high-fat foods with butter and animal fats. So when it came to cookies, when they took the butter out of the cookies and put seed oils in them, they made more profit. We need to figure out a way to make it more profitable for industry to provide healthy food than unhealthy food. We need to do that for two reasons. Without industry making food, we couldn't feed all the people. So it's an exercise in futility then. What good is it to have only healthy food available if there isn't any? Or if only 1 out of 10 people could afford it, or 1 out of 100. And you have mass starvation because people are living on friggin' cookies and Doritos today. It's keeping them alive. They may be getting sick, but it's still keeping them alive. What if they weren't there or outlawed? First step in the process. Mitch's plan to fix the world. Define, in no uncertain terms, what is acceptable to eat for human beings and what isn't. That leaves out pretty much everything except cows and fish. And if we haven't already screwed them up, we'll include them. So that's not going to work because food has to be manufactured. We have 8 billion, 9 billion people on this planet now. 10 times the amount we had 100 years ago. How the hell are we going to feed all these people? And as usual, when there's a big problem like that, it has to be industry that rises to the solution. If that industry is corrupt, we're all in trouble, which is how we got into the mess we're in today. They all followed some lunatics like Ellen G. White, Ansel Keys, and the rest of them. You can't fix stupidity, so you got to find some way to live with it. So now, how do we fix it? Well, is it impossible? But very well may be. We're too far down the rabbit hole. You got to find a way to give people food they want to eat. Because they got to want to buy it. That's why they're all addicts. So how do we go about fixing the addiction? That's damn near impossible. It's already happened. We may have to go through a mass extinction with a few survivors to start over to actually ensure the future of humans in this universe. You can only do so much damage to yourself. You can only be in so many car accidents before you just got to, I got to throw this car away now. And we're doing that to ourselves. But any fix that doesn't involve a profitable way for the major manufacturers of food to continue to manufacture enough food to feed billions of people, it won't work. It can't work. I know that sounds like a downer, but it's the truth. The good news for me and other people my age is at least there's a good chance the system will continue as long as we're alive, and we'll never be around to see the disaster that is inevitably going to happen. Just like someday some asteroid's going to crash into this planet and kill almost everything again, or some volcano's going to erupt. Because every couple 100,000 years we have an extinction event. And if it's not for the tenacity of bacteria and roaches, life wouldn't be nothing alive on this planet today. That's reality. That's reality. We've made ourselves too important. Life just is life. That's a downer, I guess, but I don't hold that much hope because I don't see any efforts being made addressing the big picture of the problem. All the hoorah is about the government paying for Coke and Pepsi and red dye number 4 or 40. Oh, and RFK's a carnivore. Shh. Don't tell anybody. The food companies don't like that when you talk about things like that. And they're going to do everything they can to discredit that guy. You think Donald Trump is a public enemy? And they're chasing after him and the fraud and the lies and the treason that they've done to try to nail him for things he didn't do. You wait to see if Robert F. Kennedy gets any traction on this stuff. The food companies and the drug companies will cancel him faster than I canceled Netflix. Reality, folks. Maybe that's why I don't have a huge audience every morning. People don't want to hear reality. They want to hear what they want to hear. Everything's going to be great. I got the solution to your problem here. I wish I did. I wish I did. I try to entertain you, if nothing else. And basically, I'm not angry. I'm just a realist. I've learned how it happened, and it makes sense to me. And an old saying that I really used to love, I always love it. and it's very apropos to what we're in now. The mess we're in. We're in a mess, no doubt about that. When you're up to your ass in the alligators, think about this. When you're up to your ass in alligators, sometimes you forget that the mission was to drain the swamp. I don't know if you think about that. When you're up to your ass in alligators, you forget you started out trying to drain the swamp. And that's the kind of position we're in right now. Oh, Sandy Blythe. That's the greatest compliment I've had all day. I love Mitch back on caffeinated coffee again. Thank you. Thank you. It flatters me that somebody noticed that I am passionate and I get fired up. And whether that's the caffeine, maybe it's the leucine, maybe it's the fact that I did exercise this morning. Maybe I got good sleep last night. I went to sleep at 10:30. I actually woke up the first time at 3:45, and I stayed in bed until about 10 minutes to 5, maybe fell asleep again. I got plenty of sleep. But I got up, I felt refreshed, ditched the walker, came out of my bedroom with the walker, parked it, and I've been going on foot, getting more and more balance. Played the piano last night. Played the piano. It's getting a little better every day. A little better every day. Oh, pardon me. Hiccups. And here we are after all that ranting and raving. Have we accomplished anything? Hopefully we've taken one more step towards reality. I don't know how I helped anybody. We talked about sleep. Again, I didn't have a solution for it. I don't know if it's that simple. I think it's too complicated a process. One more thing on that sleep is I think that if you're content, you've handled every problem that was bugging you during the day so you don't carry it to the bedroom. You have a much better chance of going to sleep. If you're looking forward to something that's exciting and fun and not thinking about all the bad stuff, that helps go to sleep. It's impossible to diagnose in any one person. Lori, that's my man, Mitch, high testosterone and credit score. Yeah, my testosterone's higher than my credit score. Pretty cool, huh? My credit score is 800 and something now. Now, that was taken last December. I've had the stroke since. I don't think that's meddled with my testosterone, but I don't care. I'm not running out to get my blood tested. You know, a lot of people have to. I'm still thinking twice about whether to work with that LabCorp. They want me to offer their services to you. I said that yesterday. I said, I feel like a hypocrite. Yes, there are times when it's good to know some of these things, but they don't want that. That's not why they're selling. They want everybody to be a subscriber. It's like a subscription business. So much a month you got to spend on getting your blood tested by yourself. I pretty well decided not to bother. And going through all of this crap with them, with all of their restrictions, and you have to say this, you have to say that, you have to do disclaimer, you gotta. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. I made the decision right now. I don't want to do that. I can't go on here and tell you not to get your blood tested and then shill for the company that wants you to get it tested every month or something like that. I can't do it. I can make money at it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Not going to do it. So I made the decision. I've been wrestling with this decision for a month, trying to find a way to make a little money at this where I don't have to become a prostitute. And I said that yesterday. It ain't easy in this world. Any more questions? Ellen chimed in. How you doing, Ellen? Good to see you here. What time was that? 9:52. Well, not bad, not bad. Getting close. Scrolling through it, looking for QQQs. Ellen saying hi to everybody and back and forth. I think we're at 9:57. It's 5 minutes behind. Wow. My left index finger is getting tired on the scroll wheel. Mitch, carry a cave woman to bed, says Jim. Yeah, well, that used to help. You know, I mean, we always got blamed for it. You better on like all you do when you've died yours, you just roll over. Okay. Well, I don't have any anymore, so that doesn't put me to sleep. But yeah, that's a great way to go to sleep. Wear yourself out beforehand. Like Alan says, Frankenfood versus natural whole foods, they know where the profits are. Absolutely. You think that even the tobacco companies weren't upset when they were basically put out of business. Of course, they're still in business. But when they couldn't sell cigarettes to kids and started demonizing Joe Camel, they weren't upset. They were busy looking at how the food companies were doing it. Nabisco, PepsiCo. Well, sorry for them to have Tony the Tiger. There's no child too young for us to try to addict them to sugar. Maybe we should buy all the food companies. And they did. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but R.J. Reynolds Company owns most of them. And they sent all their addiction scientists over to work for the food companies now. And their marketing department kept creating more and more colorful breakfast cereals and cartoon characters to addict the children. And the rest is history. And they started making tons more money because it's very profitable to sell cheap plant-based crap and sugar than it is to raise livestock, keep them healthy, and get them to market. So the boardrooms and the food companies, they're just laughing their asses off at all the do-gooders who are still protesting tobacco use today. But in actuality, like I always say, we were a hell of a lot healthier back in the 50s when nobody ate a lot of sugar, but everybody smoked. Somebody please explain that to me. If the tobacco was so bad and so devastating to our health, and everybody was smoking, but nobody was 300 pounds, very few people, those people were in the circus from eating all this crap and chemicals. There was no diabetes to speak of. Heart disease was still insignificant, not the number one killer. Cancer was insignificant, not the number two killer. And nobody had turned the medical community loose on us yet, like they are, and marketed them like they do today, which is the number three killer. But like I've said, I think it's the number one killer because of their bad advice and malpractice. I keep saying, explain it to me. Explain to me. Floyd Eisenhower had a heart attack and it shocked the world. Who in the world is shocked today now to hear somebody had a heart attack? Everybody was smoking. Maybe the best thing they could do in Washington, D.C. would be to cut out food stamps, give everybody cigarettes, and close all the 7-Elevens. Maybe that would make us healthier. We were healthier when that's what we did. Just another crazy thought. from your old Uncle Mitch. Because that's what I do. Think up crazy thoughts. Try to make them somewhat funny or absurd. Love when Mitch does the Karen voices. I must have said something funny at 10:06. But that's what I do. I come on here and just ponder things and propose things. This is funny. Yeah, it's true. Inquiring minds want to know. And of course, Karen, I would be a little upset about it myself because I know a few Karens. I don't know why. It's just certain names become popular generationally. And when I grew up, there were no Heathers, Crystals, Tiffany's. You know, there were Marys and Susans, but no Heathers. Well, these names become popular and generational. Well, it may be that when I was dating after my second divorce, it seemed like every other woman that I dated was named Karen. I had 4 Karens at one time. I was kind of juggling from these internet dating sites. And my phone rang. Hi, Mitch. It's Karen. And I go, uh-oh, which Karen are you? Not that I was a playboy or anything, but you know, it's a numbers game. You got to be talking to an awful lot of women. You expect to find one you can get along with. So, and you can't just wait between them, or else you'll take up a year of your life and find out, well, that was a mistake. And I really wanted a relationship, so you can't do it that way either, I found out. But you got to try. So all these women named Karen evidently came from a specific generation where Karen became one of the most popular names. And these days, the name Karen was associated with that fairly affluent housewife that just complains about everything. You know the type. Nothing's good enough. The drapes are the wrong color. The carpet has a little flaw in it. I'm not happy with my nose. I need a plastic surgeon. I was married to one of them. Her name was equally popular. Her name was Joanne. And I think that's why the association came up, because the type of woman that is referred to when they talk about Karen, you picture her standing out in front of her $1 million house with the Mercedes SUV, a certain look like the Housewives of Beverly Hills look, you know what I'm talking about, and attitude, always unhappy about something. So I think that's where it came from. And it stuck. It stuck probably because there's just so many Karens. You're not going to have an obscure name. It's got to be somebody some people can relate to. And then a lot of people don't know, but so as not to be sexist, Kevin became the male equivalent of Karen, probably because it started with K. So here we have Kevin and Karen, you know, the couple nobody wants to live next door to. The kind of person that when I'm flying my drone will come right up to me in my face while I'm flying and start accusing me of spying on her in her swimming pool, when no such thing has ever happened or would ever happen. But they have to find fault with everything. So we gave it a name. Karen, don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. As long as they don't call on a Mitch, I'll be happy. Okay. I get off at another thing. I'm going to end up 2 hours today, but what the hell? What else I got to do? Make videos? Try to make a little money? Oh, the folly of that. Did anybody buy me a coffee today? No. God bless it. Oh, well, see, I don't think so. I know that Sam's Club has discounts on on almost $10,000 worth of stuff that I could buy today. Oh, wow. I better get finished here so I get right on that. All right, my friends. Here's a question from Ellen. Would you have a child if you met the right female woman? No. Not at this age. No. No babies for me. But I could father a child, but no. No more kids. I have 2 kids, did my part, and the last thing in the world I would want to put up with is an infant. You ask any old person, they all want to be grandfathers. You know what's nice about being grandfathers? You can play with them. Woo, 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 woo. Here, take them. Juggling 4 Karens. Yeah, it was something. I mean, you can't make that up. There were 4 different women. Everybody I was talking to or trying to see if there was anything there. I wasn't really dating them all. I hadn't gone on dates with them all, but there was 4 Karens at the time I was actually introduced. You know, you get a phase in this internet dating where you exchange emails, and then you finally get up the guts to get a phone number, and then you try to figure, is this a real person? Do they really look like their pictures? Or is that a picture of their daughter or them 25 years ago? Are they lying about everything? Are they somebody living in Nigeria that's trying to scam you out of everything you own? And you can, you know, when the sad stories and the want to borrow money, and it's become such a cesspool full of scams, I can't imagine anybody surviving in that environment these days. Especially not with artificial intelligence driving half of these scam sites. We have internet sites now. What do they call it? Scam fish or something like that. You know, talking about the fraud on the dating sites and the stories of these people, men and women both, that have given up everything. Their whole life savings, their homes, lost everything, being manipulated by some 19-year-old black male in Nigeria. And you wonder, how could this happen? It happens because people desperately want something and will believe anything if they think there's a chance of getting it. These people fall in love with these scam artists. Send them all their money. It's amazing what you can get a human being to do by dangling a carrot. It's power of addiction, too. Catfish, that's right. Terry said catfish. I don't know. I watched 1 or 2 of those things. I don't particularly want to watch people getting scammed out of their life, but they're big channels. And they make a lot of money showing and interviewing people that have fallen for this. And here's the thing, after they fell for it, they didn't learn anything, they would fall for it again. Some of these people are on their 4th and 5th cycle of being scammed. Incredible. Because they want so desperately believe that Prince Charming or Princess Charming is out there, and they really want you. I don't want to insult the people, but you just have to look at some of these people and say, what planet are you living on? It would be like if an incredibly hot 35-year-old woman started making advances at me, telling me how much she loves older men, and she doesn't care if you had a stroke. It's just something. It's you. I'm just crazy about you. That wouldn't happen unless I was worth about, a few $100 million. But if I was worth a few $100 million, the likelihood of that would skyrocket. Do I believe it because that's what I want to believe, that I'm that attractive of a hot 35-year-old woman who doesn't have kids, doesn't have baggage, just wants to sleep, go to bed all the time, and she wants me? and I have nothing to offer except my wonderfulness? Am I supposed to believe her? Or maybe she's after my hundreds of millions of dollars. And men will actually think, no, that's not it. It's me. I'm that wonderful. Well, delude yourself much? That's the difference between living in reality or not. Well, listen, friends, it was fun today. I don't know if we accomplished anything, but we still managed to burn up 2 hours of it. Hope I didn't offend too many people. I try to offend at least one person every day, or why bother? Play a little happy music. Say goodbye to each other. Say goodbye to each other in the chat. And we'll do it again tomorrow morning. And continue on with our hump day. I think the coffee is gone. No, still a little bit. Sherry Morgan. Sherry, how are you, sweetie? I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Glad you checked in. How was everything? I hope you're fine. Hope you're all right. Wow. I saw that somebody said hi to you, and I went and looked back. I'm still doing my thing here. Still just trying to keep up with it all. Good to see you. Good to see you. And Peter says goodbye, and Lori Weitzel, believe it or not, Mitch, it is possible that a woman loves you for you, no hidden agenda. Yes, but she would not be a hot 35-year-old. That's my point. I'm not saying a woman couldn't love me. I'm as lovable as they come. But a 35-year-old hot model type with fabulous money needs is not going to find a life with me. Nor would I expect her to, nor would I even want her. But yes, Lori, I believe that. I believe that I could probably have that. Jem says, Mitch, you are funny today. Thank you. I try to be funny every day. But I get serious, and the things that I get serious about, these are things that I'm convinced are the reality where we live. And I think I just can't believe that people keep deluding themselves. But I'm guilty of it too, I suppose. How about a hot 63-year-old, says Lori? Well, you guys don't want to turn this into a dating service anyway. I guess if we did that, I have to participate. But no, not Lori. I'm flattered. 35-year-old gal with a body like Dr. Baker says, yeah, it's true. I can't talk to a 35-year-old. I have nothing in common with them. At any rate, folks, yet another day where I said we're going to be out of here by 9:45. Here it is, almost 10:30. I had a good time. I always leave these things happy and content, hoping I haven't embarrassed myself too much, driven too many people away. Thank you for coming. See you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Till then, take the rest of the day off and eat your meat.